listening to the questionnaire.
Say that again.
You're listening to the questionnaires.
I've just started. Right here, for your ears, for your eyes.
The questionnaire.
Get your comic on.
Poke it out, poke it out, poke it out, poke it out.
Our island lies between two worlds. Because of this, we are often visited by magical entities. Yeah, and there happens to be quite a few over here at the questionnaire. I can't lie, I mean, you normally see me chuck like graphics and comics and all kinds of things on the show, but I don't know. Part of me, I just got that from Raid. Shout out to Raid, man, for sending this, the number 4 in their anthology series, as well as Forest Folk. Yeah, I'm gonna too many things, which I've actually been reading to my boy the past couple nights. Man, they've all been phenomenal, man. So shout out to them, right? But that's what this is. This is a quest. We ain't talking live. That was on our IG live we just did a while ago. This is the questionnaire, ladies and gentlemen. I am the Unknown Factor, aka that Wade Wilson of hip hop, aka the host of this show. I guess, man, we've been doing it for a while, and I gotta say, somebody that's really been helping just keep it coming out, because I don't want to. And I've said this to them recently, man. I don't want to know how far behind Hack would be without Shiro. Yeah. Shiro, like, it's funny, and I think like I say, because look, you've made this show look better, and if I was making the graphics too, like, there wouldn't be all the cool stuff over on the Patreon that there is. There definitely would not be reels coming out. You know what I mean? I think that's probably like if I was still doing that and Shiro wasn't over here wrecking it, right? There wouldn't be like reels on Instagram where you can go watch like little clips and funny bits of this show. And oh my gosh, Shiro, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's
for later.
Yeah. So then we got like 20 more things, and we got to do some more things. So Shiro's got more graphics to make, and I got more people to bug, because, you know, why not, right? Not that she's not making comics too. Check that out, man. There's a link in the description for her stuff, right? But it's not the adventure we're on. Not today. Yeah, today you gotta make a mean look, because it's like I said, we're not gonna get more into your comics. What, Shiro? Are you getting mean with me?
All the time. Why else do you think people watch the show?
Dude, I swear. You're it's hilarious. Because it's a rotating co-host over here. And depending on the co-host, it really depends on the show, man. And that's why I said, like, he's going to get harassed. I don't care. I don't care, man. How much Aurora you bring adventures on the table. Jeff Burton, you are in to be just harassed a little bit, so you know.
Bring it on. I'm ready for this.
Well, do you want to get into, I mean, because you said the superpower you picked, you wanted to kind of get into it. Well, and so do I a little bit, for a different reason, though, Shiro, right? So no, because I want you to go ahead and pick on him for how you want to pick on him about his choice for that particular answer on the questionnaire. And then I'm going to mess with him on a whole different, probably other level of it. So it's going to be phenomenal. Jeff's like, what? I didn't show up here just to be twins. Like, yeah, dude, you did. You did, Joe.
Sure did. You betcha. Let's go.
Like I said, you already invaded a predator
somehow. We're already friends.
Check the pre-show to watch Jeff. Sorry, Jeff. Jeez. Look, I'm sorry, Jeff. Too many people. Look, to watch Jeff. Maybe Joe did it too. Maybe Joe helped Jeff evade the predator, and that's how that worked. I figured out the scheme. All right, now back to you pick on him, Shiro, will you? Before I screw up things more.
So, what was that superpower that you wanted to have, Jeff? Because I had a little comment on that.
It's the one that I've wanted for a very long time. It used to be super speed, but I would love to have multiple man's powers. I need more of me to get through the day.
And when I read that,
yeah, I could imagine.
I went straight to Jay, and I said, he already has that power. The guy has like 5 kids, and 3 of them are identical triplets.
Yeah, but they're not me, so
Yeah, but technically,
well, I mean, they're half me,
Okay.
half my wife. So
All right, now I'm gonna pick on you for a different reason. It's because specifically the way you phrased it, and I was like, "Do what?" Right? Let me pull this back up again. Yeah, multiple man's ability to have more. Wait, whatever, man. I misread. I swear that said something in reference to time. Why is it I'm looking at it now and it doesn't? I feel like
apparently, he
I have
also has
flipped.
time power.
I feel like I have flipped reality somehow. Or maybe
yeah, you jumped to an alternate
Slipped on the
timeline.
Mandela.
Look, I don't want to talk about
Definitely.
how many times in my life I look and I go, I really think I did. This just doesn't. But that's a. We're not getting into bed. But you know what? Fine. You want to get into the metaphysical and all of that and such and yeah, right, right. So I just read. Man, I don't remember the name of the. It was that just issue 13 of Adventures of Auroraman then?
Mhm.
For some reason I think I can't remember the title of it because it was pig oriented.
Yeah, the Hogfest of Horror.
Hogfest of Horror. Thank you. Yeah. Um, that was intriguing. I didn't expect a lot of things that were there going in. Right. Obviously you are influenced by things. Anybody that didn't see that, I would be like, "Do you not know what that is? I'm gonna throw this at you." Uh, just, you know. Um, what else inspired you to go down the route besides the obvious, as far as it being there's Ghostbusters bits in theirs, right? Why
Yeah.
ghosts?
Why ghosts?
Yeah,
Why
why
not?
ghosts?
It was it was a no-brainer. I've had another story back in issue 5 that had the Saskatchewan Ghostbusters group in there, different members than what are in issue 13, but same kind of idea. Auroraman evolved in a ghost kind of story and stuff. There's all kinds of ghost stories and lores and legends around Saskatchewan, so it just made sense to jump in there and play around with that a little bit. And then this one specifically being set in Engelfeld is where I live. And for over 50 years, they've had an annual summer festival, the Hog Fest, um, which is a pretty big community event and stuff. So I just thought, well, let's spin these two things together here and let's play it up a little bit and see where we can go with this.
Why you gotta like call up the festival, man? It seems really rude to the locals. Like, now what if that
Oh,
really? What if,
oh man, the locals are eating it up. I had over 32 individuals and businesses that donated so that I could give everybody in my school here in Engelfeld a copy of this comic for Halloween when it came out.
oh, that
I know. I saw the photos. It was beautiful.
that
Yeah.
is awesome. Yeah,
So
that is really
I
cool.
dressed up as Auroraman and I handed out these comics before school started on Halloween Day.
Yes, because it happens he has a perfect like custom cosplay. He already has the body type.
Yeah, I mean it's there's a little bit of likeness there, just a touch, and I have the big leather jacket and I've got the
Right. And then he has
staff
the
and
shorts.
everything, and it made sense. If I could have had my superpowers, I would have even had my Ghostbusters costume done in time for Halloween because I have the proton pack and I have the jumpsuit, and I just need some stuff done for it, including a mounting for the Auroraman staff on the proton pack like we see in the comic. And I would have went in my Ghostbusters Auroraman uniform. I mean, come on, we have the name tag for it and everything.
Ah, that's I. There's so many that's aspects of that story that I like, man, as far as how you've taken it so local, how the community is taken to it to that degree, even to where local businesses made it to where you were able to pass that comic out like that, man. I mean,
Well, not only did I have enough funding for an issue for everybody, but I also made 6 custom trading cards based on that particular story of the Ghostbuster characters and the Ghost Pig, and included those in with the issues. All of the Auroraman cards were signed by me, and then my teacher best friend, who is now retired but still active in our school and stuff, and is probably the most well-known person in our village, he also signed the trading card of his character. So everybody got autographed comics, and then 2 out of 6 of these trading cards were also autographed by the characters who had them. Had I more time, I would have had all the characters autographed them, because they're all based on real people.
even the hog.
Well, except for the hog.
Okay,
That one might have
you
been a
said
bit of a
all
tough
of them.
autograph. It'd have been a little sticky.
So that was that noise that we were hearing earlier before we recorded. It was your wrist.
Yeah, little carpal tunnel set in. 130 comics, 180 trading cards autographed.
There it is. I solved the problem.
I want to know, when you're doing that and you know that you have to do that many, do you have a certain signature you go to where it's like, because you know you have to do it that many times? Because it's funny because I've recently seen a bit where Todd McFarlane was talking about this, and he was talking about Peach
Peach Momoko.
Peach Momoko, and he was signing with her, and he looked at her signature and the stack comics, and he's like, and he was thinking, that's a really, really long signature, you know, and he's, because, well, right, McFarlane's got a long signature, you know.
Yeah, he's one to talk about a long signature. That's a big
Well,
one.
yeah, but I've got his somewhere, and I mean, he does it to where he does, you know what I mean? It's a celebrity signature, but they have their own trademark way that they do it. So I'm just curious, when you're going to the thing and you know you have to sit down and you have to sign like 100, 200, just, is there a thing you do, or is it just sign your name like you're signing a check?
Just sign my name like I'm signing a check. This was a first for me. I decided to try something a little bit new. I mean, why not, on such a large quantity of stuff to do? And I got myself some really nice green apple Posca paint markers, and I used that to sign. So then I could also do a little bit of a doodle around Auroraman's staff to show the power and stuff. So the doodles all kind of looked a little different. Signatures, after a while, started looking different for some of it and stuff. I mean, the gist of it is the same, but not, you probably could sit down with every one of those comics and not one of them would look exactly the same.
See, yeah, no, that's really cool, man, that you've done it like that. Like I said, I was just curious about the signature, though, because, I mean, do you think, say if you had to sit down and you knew you were signing 2,000 things, would that make you go, no, wait a second, I gotta, yeah,
Oh,
yours isn't bad, though, really, Jeff Burton. Like, that's it's not terrible.
It's pretty straightforward.
Like, after a while, you're starting to consider.
You know, like, it looks pretty, you know, so you go through like multiple of the same card.
No,
they roughly look the same. The Jeff especially. Burton gets a little bit wonky sometimes.
But that's what I'm saying. if you knew you had to sit down and do that 2,000 times, wouldn't it make you just want to go Jeff B. period?
Probably, but I probably couldn't. I think my hand just does it. Like I don't even really have to think about it anymore. It just happens.
So it's stick number at that point.
Yeah.
That's hilarious, because I, for that reason, have signed things just UF when I was doing music. Like I did, but I had it to where it was like I did a U, and then I did the F, and like the U, the part of the U was the F. So it was like, it was
distinctive that way.
You know what I mean? And then, and I did that. I mean, that was back when I was doing things on stage, but and not that I was ever in a rush like I had to sign 2,000 things. I want to say it's just like it was something I could do, so I wasn't standing and signing anything for a while, and I could more talk to the person that was wanting to interact with me.
Exactly.
And they
Yeah, for
know,
sure.
and they know they got that thing that was like, that's my mark,
Yeah.
like that's my, like, I put the mark of the beast on there. Don't worry about it. There's a reason. There's a reason it's an odd shape, Shiro.
I'm sorry, you're saying mark of the beast, and I'm picturing a hamster. You never handled a pissed off hamster, and it shows.
No. You've clearly seen that episode of South Park where the hamsters truly are the problem. Just keep them Peruvian flute bands away, and we'll be fine, right? Right. So as long as we ain't got the Peruvian flute bands around, right? And we're talking about bringing in some hamsters before they come in and run you over. You ain't stopping them, man. Stop the predator. You ain't stopping the hamsters, right? Give us your elevator pitch.
All right. So, Auroraman, who is he? Well, he's a high school teacher and a father. Finds a cosmic-powered staff in a meteor shower and decides to become the superpower of the prairies.
It's interesting to me, and I guess it's because, look, I'm in Indiana, right? And with what just happened here recently, I don't know if I should be offended by that laugh or not, Jeff.
I guess you take it as you can.
Like,
Be offended.
that's Shiro. Whoa. Yo, all I
He's
know.
back. He's back.
And look. It was like, be offended. And then it cut off. And I was like, that's fucked up. It made it look like I just fucking was like, fine, motherfucker, and left.
Because right after that, I said, come on, it'll be funny. And then your screen froze, and we were both like, ah.
Back to what we were saying, right? I still am not sure how to take that laugh. And then
Yeah, I got merch.
crap it went down.
That's okay.
Not that I've stated it, man. And look, I don't.
Gotta take better care of my merch.
I want 6 options for president, and that's how I'll state my opinion. You know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like 2 options is enough. I don't even think they no. It just seems bad, man. It just seems bad. That's all I'm saying, Jeff. Let's get off politics, man. You made my head
Yeah.
You gotta
you
laugh
betcha.
about the fact that I'm in Indiana. And I was trying to make a wholly different point, and then you gotta you're like, come on, man. Don't you know there are people really in their fields in so many different ways in this country right now that and I'm not really in my fields about the politics I want to point out. I'm just like, can we just more find a middle line before everybody just
Oh yeah.
can we all just because I assure you there's gray areas here, y'all, and they're findable, but there's portions of people that, and off of that, right? Back to my point of what I was trying to say about Indiana before you wanted to be up and giggle about it, Jeff, up there in Saskatchewan, freaking rural. I live in a village, not even a town. You said a village.
Not even a town, village, man.
You live in a village, right? So I don't want to.
Oh, now, Jay, don't be jealous.
All right. So back to my point. So in that, when I was initially getting into comics, I mean, clearly I didn't see really Canadian comics. I did actually see a couple of Captain Canuck that I actually picked up recently that were old issues. But I mean, that was fairly recently, and they were Oddly enough, I don't know how they ended up at what was my local comic book store when I was going to it, because I know when I went to it, it's nothing they ever had. So I think, honestly, somebody ended up from Canada in Indiana and had a comic book collection and ended up selling it to them, and it had Captain Canuck in it. This is the only thing I can really figure out, right? Or was that available stateside in a large portion? And I just don't know. And never seen it.
Sort of, but Richard Comley, the creator of the original Captain Canuck, does travel a lot, and he has toured the States extensively numerous times in his career and stuff. So his stuff shows up everywhere randomly, and he has fans in the States that are just like big fans of whenever he comes out and stuff. So
I was just like, I just seen him there, But in the process of doing this show, there's been a lot of Canadians on the show, which no complaints, man. I love everybody. Every Canadian we've had on, it's been an absolute pleasure. You know what I mean? I can't. Like I said, just even recently, Ramon Perez is up there.
yeah.
Shiro's up there. Scott's up. I could sit here and give a list of Canadians that have been off the show. That's really extensive.
Yeah. People of talent.
And that's very much, up to and including Michael Oman up there. You know what I mean? So,
Yep.
It's an extensive list. And again, somebody that's also been on the show. It's a very, very long list of very, very talented creators. But I guess I didn't realize, and I realized this so much more about so many areas, that, man, everybody's got their own little comic market. And it just sort of amazes me. And then I see things that are very specific to areas. And I guess it's because I was always in Indiana. And look, there were no comics that were, there might be a comic that mentioned Indiana, but you ain't got a comic that's in Indiana like that. It's just, you didn't, at least not back then. There might be one now. I'd really have to do the research on that. It was like New York or LA, bigger cities. Then or fake cities like Gotham and Metropolis, right? I look at these, then I look at all the things I've seen in Canada, and I'm like, these are taking place in Canadian states with characters that are just made up. It's very intriguing. What do you think caused that, as far as in the Canadian market, to have characters like Captain Canuck, and then it get to the point where you have you're looking and you're like, I'm going to make Auroraman, and I'm going to make it local, to where that's more of a thought as opposed to doing something that's, I don't want to say on a larger scale, but something that doesn't seem local, because you don't want to just localize it to that general area. You want to make sure it has more of a reach.
Okay. Well, that's a great question. I'll take you back 8 years ago when I was starting this, and the very first interview that I ever did when news of Auroraman started to spread out. And it was a cold call interview to a live radio show. I was zero prepared for it, because it was literally like the news broke on my local radio station and newspaper about the launching of Auroraman. And all of a sudden, I get this email from CBC in Regina, and they were like, yeah, we've got this show that's on the radio. It's live in the afternoon. We'd love to do an interview about the launch of your comic book and stuff. And it's like, okay, great. So I get this guy who I have zero idea if he is a comic fan at all or anything. But his first question is, why Humboldt? I've been to Humboldt. There's nothing going on there. Never mind needing a superhero in Humboldt. And I was like, oh, crap. I don't know how to answer this right now, because I honestly wasn't expecting that kind of question. And I think the piece for Canadian creators to use like actual Canadian locales is because growing up with comics, Marvel and DC comics, it's either fictional or it's New York or LA. You could probably count on one hand how many times they would mention anything in Canada, and that would be Toronto, because apparently that's all that Canada is to most people that aren't from Canada.
And it would
Or
be
the
Wolverine.
Or it'll be Ottawa, because that's the capital, so everybody kind of knows that. And then yeah, it's the wilderness. Canada is nothing but forests and igloos and snow. And then slowly things like Vancouver show up, Calgary occasionally, or it's Toronto. And it's like, there's a lot more to Canada. And like I said before about the ghost stuff, everywhere in every province, every little town to big city has stories and lore. So when I started doing Auroraman, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to start tapping into some of this stuff that's distinctive to Saskatchewan and see what we can do with that.
So
like
what?
Jeff is ghosts. My province, technically, it's werewolves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Simply rendered as loup-garou.
Loup-garou, yep. Yeah, like, I mean, and everywhere has that kind of stuff, so.
There's a place, I think it's in Ontario, that shares a lake with you guys downstairs. You guys are sharing Ogopogo with us.
No, Ogopogo's in British Columbia.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's sea monsters in tons of lakes in Canada. And I mean, Saskatchewan is a lot of water, so we have our own sea monster stuff. And I mean, lots of people don't realize this about Saskatchewan, even people that live here. Back in the Ice Age, we were under a glacier, and when that glacier melted, we were the world's largest inland sea. So, I mean, there's areas of here that still have glacier ocean water in their lakes. So, of course, we have all of these sea monster fossils that are showing up all over Saskatchewan. And people are like, what are all these aquatic dinosaurs doing in the middle of Canada? And it's like, well, this is why, because we used to be an ocean.
All right. So
That's blowing his mind.
that was just, I mean, that was a lot of things, from going to werewolves to, you know, the sea monsters in the middle of Saskatchewan to, I mean, it's all, and yeah, all right, fine. The world is beyond weird. For anyone that hasn't realized that, I don't think you read enough, but that's just my opinion. Out of all of the urban legends you've heard in Saskatchewan, do you have one for you that is a personal favorite? Do you have one that you've personally experienced? And do you have one that you personally look at and go, oh man, I really need to put that in a story?
Well, there is the haunting of the bridge at St. Louis. So it's an old train bridge that was converted into a vehicle bridge, and then more recently they built a more safer bridge than this old rickety bridge. But it's said to be that, you know, the right time of the year and at the right conditions and stuff like that, you can see the haunted train light coming down, the engine light coming down this bridge at you and stuff. So we actually did turn that into an Auroraman story, a backup story that James Zintel wrote and did the art for. You know, go figure, leave it up to him to do that story. But yeah, no, he's a Saskatchewan creator, amazing, phenomenal, hilarious stuff. If you have not seen James's work, you'll love it. I can tell already. But yeah, he did a story with the St. Louis light. And then I've written a follow-up story to that one that just hasn't gotten to the point of being arted and published yet. But yeah, I love that. And there's tons of stories like that all over the place, like everywhere. When I've done author talks in schools and other communities and stuff like that, people will tell me stories so I can jot them down in my notebook and stuff and just kind of keep them there for when the muse strikes.
So personal, or do you have one that you've personally experienced?
Probably, I don't know, like I've probably experienced more stuff than I remember, really, because there's just so many things that do happen. Like phantom lights is a big one out here on the prairies, because I don't know about you, but One of the things people talk about in Saskatchewan is how flat it is and stuff, and how you can literally see forever. Well, that does a lot for phantom light situations, because you'll be looking and you'll be like, there's this light and it's coming closer and closer and closer, and then it literally disappears, and you're like, there is nothing in between us where that light was and where I am for it to have disappeared. So what was it?
Man, why do you live there?
It's great. And I really love, like, moving to the village that we live in is just amazing, because I can go stand out on my back deck watching Northern Lights and all kinds of that kind of stuff. And just like and then of course listening to coyotes howling and stuff like that while I'm doing it, knowing that they're probably just across the back road and in the fields that are just behind my yard and stuff. But it's peaceful.
Okay.
Oh yeah, peaceful. Mm.
I'm not too worried.
Oh no, no.
Yeah,
Like
exactly. I mean,
dispatched a predator earlier. Like,
Yeah,
you don't.
I mean,
That's
you didn't kill the
that's a
predators.
prairie boy thing, you know.
Casually dispatching predators.
Well, I mean, we don't have to fend off polar bears or anything because we're not that far north. But you know, predators, sure.
But you got some friends farther up north that are fending off polar bears. Is that what you're telling us?
Oh God, yeah. My uncle lived in northern Manitoba, and there's communities in northern Manitoba that they have part of their like community jobs, so kind of like your maintenance people, like your garbage men and stuff like that. They have a polar bear watch crew that patrol the communities, especially in the mornings, because there's nothing, like my uncle would tell stories about how, and my cousins talk about how, yeah, you know, can't go to school today because there's a polar bear walking down the street, so it's not safe to be outside because polar bears see us as food and they will not hesitate to attack you just because they're hungry.
You are delicious and full of fiber.
Yeah, and they will eat you up.
I just love that I asked that question half jokingly, and you're like, "Oh God, yes." Like,
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Hey, welcome to Canada, buddy.
It's
totally.
a thing.
Yeah.
Like,
What do you mean? Like, that's
you,
fighting off a polar bear? You act like that's not normal.
yeah, no, there's communities that's like the neighborhood watch is to patrol for polar bears and try and scare them away so that kids can get to school and stuff.
How do you scare away a polar bear? Like,
a big truck and a loud gun, hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah. Yeah, because I think sometimes the polar bear then sees that big truck and loud gun as a threat and attacks it because it doesn't.
If they're hungry enough, that's not as much of a threat anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
That truck just becomes an obstacle. It's the tin can that's holding the food.
Let me just get the key. Creak.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
why.
guys, there's two of them in there today.
And that's why in that case you need a really big gun. I'm gonna guess. You know.
Yeah.
Like, oh, he didn't run away. Ugh. Jeez, a freaking Pete, man. So
Like I told you last time, buddy, we're like Australia Light, just with less poison.
Yeah, and I mean, in Saskatchewan right now, one of the biggest things to contend with, especially if you're driving the highways, is moose.
Yes.
And
if there's anything worse than a hungry polar bear, is a horny moose.
Well, and you know, you have the misconception that moose's eyes don't reflect headlights, so that's why they're so hard to see in the dark. It's not that they don't reflect headlights, it's because they're so damn tall that the headlights don't reach their eyes. And you're not going to you're going to hit a moose, you're not hitting the body. The body's falling on you when you clip its legs out from under it.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, because look, I've hit deer, you know,
Yeah.
which are far less. Oh, I know, far less substantial animals.
I mean, we have our fair share of that here too.
Yeah,
We
but
got
I mean,
deer. We don't worry about deers.
Yeah.
You'll have a bad day if you hit a deer, but you'll have a really bad day if you hit a moose.
Well, yeah,
that's
because the moose.
That's a woolly mammoth on stilts.
I never thought about that, but literally, like, if you hit a moose in a car, it's falling on your head pretty much.
Yeah.
Yes. You will be
Oh
salty,
yeah.
like I was in the last Sundering. Anyway.
Ow. That's just whatever. Sure, you're coming back. Very curious to see what it's what, but that'll be coming soon. Yeah. More Sunday.
Quebec, I'm still salty about that,
Here
of
coming
course.
shortly. Yeah.
Now-
Hey, look, man. Whatever. You and Dave wanted to pick like real licensed characters. I don't want to hear it. Like, even though I was loving it, and I ain't gonna lie, I'm gonna be annoyed not having Vincent around because like the references that character was able to catch that I made, I thought were freaking hilarious. And now, but whatever.
Anyway, back to Jeff and his Ghostbusters.
I don't. Yeah. Back I was getting there, man. Right. So, Jeff, like I said, I mean, you're a teacher, right? Oh, I like that cover.
Yeah, you bet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What made you decide to write the comics in the first place, man? Because that is an endeavor.
Yeah. I think I'm a touch crazy.
It
but
helps.
you know that
helps.
helps a lot. Yeah. No, I mean I've been a comic fan all my life. Like really grew up with the Adam West Batman and the old 67 Spider-Man, and then the comics that you could find everywhere, gas station, grocery store, always, right? They were everywhere, so it was really easy to get them and really easy to get into them. And I loved the fun of it, and it was the fantastic and everything. Like it was just something so cool and visually, like I love reading. This was just that much better because you could see all the stuff that was happening. It wasn't just up to your mind to do the imagination. So as I got older, I started to find modern comics just weren't hitting the same. They weren't quite resonating the same with me. And so then I started digging around, and I remembered having an old Canada Post stamp set of Canadian superheroes, Canadian comic books. I was like, oh, I should go digging into this a little bit more and see. Well, that was a rabbit hole and a half because I found all of these characters. But then what else I found on top of that was that there was people doing Canadian comics now, modern Canadian comics. So then I started digging into that and finding all these other characters that were coming out, newer characters and stuff like that. And this was, just amazing. It was fantastic stuff. We're talking like, 2013, 14, really starting the heyday of this new generation of Canadian creators of really popping off with tons of indie books all over the place. And I'm like, yeah, some of these are really hitting the notes that I really like. And I was chatting with a friend of mine in the States, in Georgia, and then a creator that I met in Manitoba. And we both, all three of us, share some very strong affinities for certain characters that were already out there. And then we ended up just kind of playing around with an idea and bouncing around and everything. And eventually it became Auroraman. And I was like, yeah, this is cool and stuff. My friend from the States did a lot of building around this character idea. And he's like, here you go, man. He's like, let's, where would you like to see this? Like, what do you want to do with this? And so then I passed it along to my friend Andrew in Manitoba because he had a team book of Canadian superheroes that were based, like each hero was based somewhere else in Canada, and they'd come together as a team and stuff. So I was like, yeah, this Auroraman character would be kind of like a cool, like a reservist or somebody, somebody that just pops up every once in a while or whatever. So I showed him what Ted and I had done and had created and stuff. And he kind of helped fine tune it a little bit. And he's like, you know what, this is great, but I think you need to write it. And I was like, I don't know about that. I really don't know if I'm equipped or capable to do that. And he's like, no, man. He's like, we'll sit down and we'll do the first 0 issue, a little 6-pager, kind of see how it flows and stuff. So he and I wrote that and batted it around with Ted a little bit just to make sure that it was still sticking to what he liked. and we put it out there just to see. And I was like, I don't think anybody's going to read a comic about, you know, this middle-aged teacher from Saskatchewan. I don't know if it's got legs. I love it, but I don't know if it's going to go anywhere. And that was 8 years ago, and 14 issues and several hundred pages of comics later.
Now,
So
you're
yeah.
right.
It went somewhere.
Yeah,
I think so.
It clearly did. Now, what was the name of the team up book that Andrew does?
That's the Canadian Core, and it has 2 issues were released of that. And then I've borrowed a lot of his characters for various team ups with Auroraman over the years, including a couple big ones that are coming down the pipe in the next couple of years.
How far are you planned ahead with this at the moment?
I could probably not write another word and still publish 2 50-page Auroraman comics a year for the next 7 or 8 years. But that also includes the fact that in 2 years' time is the 10th anniversary, and for that one I have a 276-page story written for that, and the art has already been started for that.
I would hope.
Yeah, the back of my head says that book will never be done on time, but that's okay. That year is a long year. As long as it's out before December 31st of 2026, it still counts.
Yeah, that's a lot of.
Well,
I mean,
I didn't intend for it to be that big when I started. I just was like, we have a story, snowman story that's been filtering through the Auroraman stories from the very beginning. There's been these alive and not friendly snowmen. We call them the Frosties. And they've always just kind of been like little snapshot pieces here and there. Well, this 10th anniversary, I finally decided, okay, for the 10th anniversary, we're going to get to the bottom of the Frosties and tell that story. And in that, I was like, since it's the 10th anniversary, I want to do a cross-Canada tour. Auroraman is going to go across Canada and team up with lots of these other indie characters from other creators all across Canada. And he'll be investigating the Frosties because they're showing up more than just in Saskatchewan. And these other heroes are having encounters. So he's going to team up with all these other heroes and stuff. So there's a starting story, and then there's the team up middle portion, and then there's the epic finale conclusion of it all. And it just grew and grew and snowballed more and more.
Appropriate.
Yeah, exactly. It was exactly how it should have happened. It organically just, and like I thought, oh, these team up cameos are going to be like 2 pages is kind of what I envisioned. But when I started writing some of them, there was no way that they could be 2 pages. It wasn't going to work. There's no way that Taco the Imp was going to be able to wipe out some snowmen in just 2 pages with an oversized poutine fork. It wasn't going to work that way.
Yes.
Repeat that character's name again, please.
Taco the Imp.
Taco the Imp.
Yep, not my character. Your co-host's character, though.
This guy.
Sure,
Surprise!
like you need it. You know what my main problem is? I'll tell you what my main problem is, because like I don't like to read digitally. I don't. I do it really begrudgingly sometimes for the sake of the show.
I hate digital.
But yeah,
I need comics have to be in my hand. So this will be massive amounts of comics.
Yeah,
I have for now broken it into 3 parts, but it'll be the intro story is a standard size more so than the big team up tour is huge, and then the ending part will be more average sized.
And did you have any complications with going with, because we just had Robert on, who put together Legends of Indie Comics, and he was going about and he's having a bunch of writers take independent creators they're into their creations from independent comics and like bring them back with a little prose type story. I'm curious,
Right. Yep.
in running through this with what you're doing, is there anything that you look at when you were trying to get all these team ups that it couldn't get something that you wanted, or were they all pretty smooth as far as in doing that? Were the creators easy to get a hold of in most cases, or were there a couple of times where it was like, man, I'm about to give up because sometimes and I'm not saying anything about any creators anybody knows. Some people just you can't get a hold of them on social media because they're not on it.
Right.
You can get
there's a few creators that I knew I would probably not be able to get a hold of, or that they would probably not be interested. There was a few creators that I had never met before, so this was my first time interacting with them. But I generally had no issues with, I would say 98% of the creators. I have all of the characters that I was looking for, plus a few more that I didn't know I wanted until I found out about them. I would say there's 2 characters that I would have loved to be able to include and was flat out refused on them. My biggest thing, but the thing is with those characters specifically, I had kind of already knew that it was going to be a hard sell because they've been less than cooperative, I guess would be the way to go with that. They're very tight-fisted with their characters. Which, I mean, it kind of sucks because in the realm of Canadian characters and Canadian creators, lots of us are super open and let our characters flow back and forth between books all the time. But these particular ones, they clamp down hard and we're like, nope, not going to happen. I think my bigger disappointment, like I said, that one was disappointing, but I already kind of expected it. I knew that was likely to be the case. I was more disappointed with the fact that, and I totally understand that some of the creators who were artists were, their artistic load was too busy so that they wouldn't be able to draw the pages with their characters on them themselves. That part kind of sucks because that's half of the fun for me, is having an artist that's linked to the character drawing those cameo pieces. But I mean, I knew it was going to be a long shot, and in some cases, some of the creators are just like me; they're just writers, so I was going to have another artist do it anyway. So, AKA most of it Shiro, but
yeah. Because guess what, Jay? I work on everything for everybody.
It's very true.
Colorist for Auric. I do some side work for Jeff and some colors for Jeff. I do graphics for you. I do the art for Barbarian Queen characters. I'm tired.
Is this why you prefer? Is this why you prefer communication through the Trello?
Yes, please.
Shiro can
keep it nice and simple.
Hey, look, man. Look, Jeff. Like, all I know is that's a comic, which I honestly think could be easily but sometimes I have spur of the moment and I'm driving and I just gotta spin it at Shiro real quick because I'm and I can't type it out the Trello because I'm out and about running, and I get better about it. You gotta admit, from when I started using that thing to now, come on, Shiro, I'll actually comment about actual things, but sometimes my brain cannot translate into typed words what it can into spoken word.
And I got some audio processing issues, so yeah, it's been going really well.
Yeah, don't worry. Sometimes when you have somebody that has no problem speaking on anything, and like I can spit out ideas like that, but like typing them down for some reason, like my fingers won't work as fast as my brain does, and it's a freaking problem. You know what I mean? Like yeah, that's my problem. My fingers don't work as fast. I'm like my brain is like 2 paragraphs ahead of where the hell my fingers are right now. This is not cool, right? My mouth can't even keep up with my brain. It does its dangest. That's why I speak so quickly. And I think what I found the times people who English is not their first language, they're like, I don't want to come on that show. I don't understand what that dude's saying because he speaks too fast. And I'm like, I do like, yeah. What are you gonna do? It's just it's. I have as. What do you think, Shiro? Or let's ask Jeff. Jeff, if you were to think I had Looney Tune character. If you were to pick a Looney Tune character whose energy I had, who would you go with?
Oh, energy-wise?
Yeah.
Oh, man. There's like 3 or 4 happening all at once right
Oh,
there.
yes, I love it. Tell me all of them.
Like, really, energy-wise, like, obviously Taz has tons of energy, but like, so does Daffy Duck. And like, really...
Yeah, woohoo, Daffy.
Yeah, and you add like the coyote in there for some fast thinking and stuff like that. Like it's all there.
I mean, Shiro said Roadrunner because it's like meep,
Yeah.
like yeah.
Yep. Definitely, I could see that too.
Yeah. This is why should be a cartoon. It shouldn't be on this planet. I swear it should be in a comic book somewhere. I would fit. So, like, yeah, man, for real. Like, I need Looney Tunes to be real. I really, really do. Come on, like, let's go to that. Let's go to that. Right? I gotta know. Oh man, did I already delete that? Son of a. Sorry, man.
You are a cartoon, but not from Looney Tunes. From Cool World.
Can I say? I'll tell you something very odd.
Whether that's a compliment or not, that's up to you.
Wait, what? Who? I missed it, Shiro.
I said you are a cartoon character, but not from Looney Tunes, from Cool World. Whether that is a compliment or not, that's up to you. Yeah, sometimes I watch movies.
I don't know how you have time to.
It's been a long time. It's been a long time since
I referenced like from 1993.
I've been trying to watch the next episode of Penguin for like the last 3 nights, but I end up doing stuff for the show. So Shiro, yeah. Shiro's the only reason there are reels, and I need to post them to TikTok too. But who's got time to post all the crap after I make it? Oh my god! How do you manage the marketing of this, or have you found? Jeff, because it is more of a local comic and what happened, it tends to not. Does it tend to market itself a little in that regard? I mean, especially with you talking about the local radio interview and all of that. I feel like it's a nice little you got when you kick that off, man. I mean, seriously, it's a kick to the butt in the proper way to that comic when it kickstarted. I didn't mean to. You know what I meant?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it was great. Local before society dismantled a lot of the local news stuff. We had tons of local news support, like a local newspaper. We still have a local radio station and stuff. So I mean, there's huge coverage there. Used to get coverage in our next biggest major city, Saskatoon, TV news. I've been on the TV news a couple times with them. Either going in studio or having them come out to Humboldt. The first time I launched the audio comic, the news out of Saskatoon came and interviewed myself and my wife and my son because they had helped do voices and stuff for that. So I have a part-time job in the local movie theater. So when I launched the audio comic, and the news from Saskatoon wanted to come out and do a story about the audio comic, I talked to my bosses at the movie theater, and we set up and filmed the news story in the movie theater. Mm-hmm. So they picked different locations to interview the 3 of us in the different spots in the theater and stuff. And I mean, when I launched Auroraman, right at the beginning, I had a news crew out of Regina come out, and they came to my school and filmed an interview at school, and like filmed me teaching, and then interviewed students and other teachers in the building about it and everything and stuff. So I mean, yeah, local news has been huge in helping spread the word and stuff. And I mean, Auroraman has been shipped to everywhere except for Antarctica, as far as around the world, every continent and most countries around the world.
You slacking,
and
you slacking,
which is
not getting
yeah,
up
like
to Antarctica yet. Like for real, like why ain't you got to Antarctica?
I'm working on it. I had a geology professor that spends time in Antarctica, so I'm trying to hit him up and see if we can get some down there, just so that I can say it's literally been on every continent on the planet.
Hashtag bring Auroraman to the penguins.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go. But yeah, no, it's marketing is a tough one. And it's one I struggle with just because of the time factor. I mean, I have a lot of stuff going on outside of just the comic work and stuff, so it's a time constraint to be able to try and push it out there. But I try as much as I can, and I've got some plans now in the works for a bigger push again to try and get it out some more in Canada and stuff like that. Push it into libraries is my big push now. Is I want to try and get some of the collected versions volumes into the library systems and stuff. I mean, getting it into schools is always good. I love doing that too. And now that it's all listed on Amazon, getting it into the States is getting easier and stuff too, because I don't have to try and worry about shipping. They can just order it straight from there.
I've had a couple things shipped from up there in Canada, and man, I don't, I'll tell you the thing that kind of breaks my mind a little bit in a way, right? So
you don't say.
well, because look, how is it as an American I can order this thing all the way from Japan? It's gonna get shitty, blah blah blah. All this is coming all the way from Japan. I'm paying $20 for it total, right? And that's all I'm paying. Hey, Jeff, why don't you ship me like 2 collected editions of that, and it'll be $40 to ship it. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, like,
yeah,
like why?
No, that's exactly
it. I don't. Not compute.
I can probably ship it to you for $30-$35. But if I want to ship it to Shiro, who's even in my country, it's going to be like $50.
Mm-hmm. I am aware that it is incredibly stupid, and I hate it.
That's what y'all get for living in a frozen tundra, right? Like, geez, OP,
Okay, first of all,
come on, I was wearing shorts today. It's not that frozen.
Right.
Neither of us is in a tundra. Frozen maybe, but that's not for now.
Hey, we're not there yet. We're having a beautiful fall right now. I have yet to see a snowflake even.
He is in a wasteland. I am an aquatic redneck, okay? Completely different, no tundra involved.
Shiro, buy me 2 minutes.
Done.
It's a hot commodity.
Especially with the exchange rate. Holy jeez, that's like 20 minutes right? American.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, at least 20, maybe 25 even.
I got 25. Somebody give me 30 minutes. 30 minutes. Okay, do you have 35 minutes? 35 minutes. Anybody got 35 minutes? We're still at 30 minutes. Like, anybody got 35 minutes? 35.
You were supposed to just, like, ask a question, Shiro.
No, of course not.
You're the worst co-host ever.
I'm the best co-host ever.
Did you see, I'm curious, Shiro, did you look through his questionnaire, right?
I actually did.
Okay, did you
However,
notice?
I do not care. I am chaos.
That's fine.
I was just going to say, I don't think she would have learned anything new about me from
whatever,
there.
dude. Look, she would
Actually,
learn.
I was wondering.
Okay.
Jeff, why did you not mention that little partnership you had with a certain store?
Oh.
Because that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I tend to forget that. I was a crowning achievement for the few years that we had that. Distribution in the local 7-Eleven, that was fantastic.
Yeah.
Putting comics back on the racks in a
Shut
7-Eleven,
up.
and
Wait. No.
the manager, so the manager put them even at the register so that they were highly visible. And we had a launch party for issue, I don't even remember what issue it was now anymore, but we had a launch party in the 7-Eleven.
I knew that'd get your attention.
How long ago was this? How long ago was this, Jeff?
Oh, God. Okay, so I've been doing it 8 years, so I want to say 3 or 4 years ago.
I think it was 3.
Might have been 3, and it only ran for a year and a half-ish, give or take. Once the regional manager switched, then all bets were off on that one, unfortunately. But until then, it was a great thing because, man, we were putting books through there like nobody's business. In the short amount of time that they were there, I easily sold over 100 issues.
That's quite a feat.
Well, considering that, places weren't carrying comic books like that anymore, so.
Yeah, that's just comics in a gas station. I mean, and just 3 years ago, that's like when we've had Vlad. He's another one of the co-hosts over here, man. He's from Serbia, and he's telling me they got newsstands, and I'm like, what? They have
love that.
Like what is it? What is this ancient craft you speak of, sir? Where can I find its likeness? I mean, you know what I mean? For real, cause
Pixar, it didn't happen.
Like, it's a spinner rack in a gas station.
Yeah, yeah, right by the front door, and then a rack on the counter by the tills.
That's
issue number 6. That's what it was. It was issue 6 was the launch party we had there.
Man,
the irony of issue 6 beginning at 7-Eleven.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
All I know. Hey,
how it worked out.
That's pretty perfect. I love your pick for a throne, man. Like that's pretty. Like how like Squishmallows. You want the softest throne in the world, dude.
Oh man, I got comfort.
Lumbar support, finally.
That's not lumbar support. That's you get eaten by it.
I'm gonna fall asleep in it anyway, so it might as well be comfortable.
Wait. See, man.
It's not me.
Look,
that was me.
Did you not give me a copyright strike, man? What the crap?
That was my evening pill reminder.
Let's not forget we're all old in here.
I mean, but just, dude, you really, I feel like you copped out on one question, real hard, right, Jeff?
Ooh.
I do, right?
Just one,
and maybe 2, but really, I feel like you copped out on 1, right? Because if you're a big Star Wars fan, you can't tell me there ain't something Star Wars recently that annoyed the crap out of you.
No.
None of it?
No.
That's amazing.
I may not. Yeah, exactly. If I didn't like it, then it wasn't made for me. But it's made for somebody, and somebody enjoyed it. So good on them. I don't like to waste my time with stuff like, if I didn't like it, then why am I going to waste my time arguing about it? I'll just move on.
That's definitely a good way to look at things, man. How big are you? What's your height, Jeff?
6'2".
All right,
of course.
That's a pretty solid choice for you as far as for a zombie apocalypse weapon. I will give you. That's something we recently added because you've got someone picked like a Morning Star. Or no, it was the wife. She's like, I'd take a spiked mace. Or no, she's a Pete, man. I go through too many things. Was it Lee that took the spiked baseball bat? Shiro?
I don't know if I had the zombie
No,
apocalypse question.
not you.
It's been a while. Huh?
Not you, Lee.
Oh, I don't know.
Somebody was like they wanted to use the spiked bat from Stranger Things with big nails through it. And I'm pretty sure it was Lee. Sure, you should remember. That's another whatever. That's another thing.
I am here
That's
to make
another
graphics,
person.
not to take notes like a secretary.
Well, but you're a terrible co-host, Shiro. I love it.
If I had known there had been a test, I would have studied.
If there's a test, we're screwed because I'm this person that's probably supposed to ace it, and you over here got your hand held up, man. What's the deal?
I have a part of my house.
I
is
know.
Up here, so I just stretch my arms every once in a while.
It was just perfect because like
my house is collapsing. I'm preventing it.
Hands up.
Yeah, like, hey, I have a question. I got a question. But there was another time where you were holding up like this, and you were kind of swaying back and forth and not saying anything. And part of my brain wanted to go, oh, crap, the predator got him. He's about to get skinned.
Yeah, watch your lunch. Yeah, spiked mace is never going to work because you know what? It's going to get stuck in a zombie's body or in their head and stuff like that, and then you're screwed. I'm an archer. I'm an archer, and I'm an archery coach at my school and stuff. So first of all, I'm going to start pecking them off with projectiles, and then if I have to go out and recollect my arrows, I'm going to take my big sledgehammer with me. And I already have a massive wingspan, so add a big sledgehammer to it, and they're not getting close to me.
I mean, it is a good choice because it offers a lot. I'm honestly
so versatile.
I'm just curious as to where the more people that get that question, how many answers will I get? Because like, I kind of not to sound like an a-hole when I say this or anything, but I'm like, I think a question has been asked twice now. There's a couple out that haven't came up yet too. Or like somebody was like a spiked bat. I'm pretty sure it was Lee, Shiro, and then you said it's.
We're gonna have to go watch that episode and find out.
You know what?
Also on this YouTube channel.
See, now
See? Marketing.
You've annoyed me to the point where I'm cursing on the show, Shiro.
Oh, I have nothing to do with that, baby. You did that way before I showed up.
Hey, actually, like I've been doing really good not cursing on the show, and we're gonna try and keep it that way because we just had 2 teachers back to back on the show, man. Because just before this, we had Jason DeHart on. I don't know if you know of him, but he actually wrote a book that was teaching literacy, and I'm not getting this exactly right. He's there's one coming this way, but it's teaching literacy and empathy through graphic novels and comic books. What's your thoughts as a teacher of using comics as a you son of a that did that do that? Did that do that? Don't okay. As using that as a teaching tool.
I use it in any class that I can, depending on what the subject matter is. So as a teacher in a village school, we're a K-12 school. So I teach a wide range of subjects. You don't end up with too many teachers in a K-12 school that just teach certain subjects, and you teach across a wide span of grades. So in the 11 years that I've been teaching here, I've taught a little bit of everything as far as classes go, and I'll integrate comics and graphic novels into it like anywhere and everywhere that I can. One of my core classes is History 20, which is a grade 11 history class, and this encompasses from World War I up to modern times. as far as history goes. And one of the assignments that my students do every time I teach this class is they write a 10-page research essay for me. And the topics are wide open. So that way I can hopefully hit on something that they're interested in to make it a little bit more of a palatable assignment for them. And I've had tons of like high achieving academic students come through and write some absolutely amazing essays, but I'd expect them to. The best essay that I have ever received, or one of the best essays that I've ever received in my years doing this, was written by a student who was struggling to pass the class. But the topic that he chose, the librarian and I got him graphic novels on the subject. And that now put it at a reading level and a reading genre that he was more interested in reading. And because of that, he could in turn then write this essay, and wrote an amazing essay. But it was because we got him with graphic novels to get his information.
That's phenomenal. I'm curious, has there ever been a spot where you're like, I'm amazed I figured out a way to use comic books to teach that?
In some math classes, yep.
I'll be real honest. I'm like, how you do math and comics? Like, that just seems like
It all depends. I mean, I used comic books when talking about learning about measurement and area, because, you know, when you're formatting a page, it had to be certain measurements and stuff like that. So to make sure that you had that right. Also used it when talking in units, in financial units, about budgeting and costs, and, you know, the breakdown of, you know, this is what it costs to create a comic. So let's look at what our budget is, you know, and have them draft up what they thought was a budget for the cost of making a single issue, never mind printing a print run, but just making a single issue, and then showing them, okay, so for this particular issue of Auroraman, this is what the cost breakdowns of just into the production piece was. Some of them were way over, some of them were way under. But yeah, you can swing it into pretty much anything. You know, superhero exercises and stuff in phys ed class, and, you know, obviously art classes and ELA classes are really easy.
Hold on, man. I'm trying to think of one that would just be like, well, how are you going to do that, right? Like, and I mean, I don't know if you got into physics. I feel like, well, no, I do. I mean, because technically you could be like, how much force did it require for, you know, him to hit that building to make that building fall? Yep. So you could put,
or what would the angle that Captain America would have to throw his shield to get it to rebound properly?
Yeah. So that's all.
And I before, when I was just finishing up my education degree, I had a professor at university who was an English professor, and she was doing a research study on using comic books and graphic novels and promoting reading in reluctant readers. So I worked as a research assistant for her for 6 or 7 months, gathering comic books gathering graphic novels from Canadian publishers all across the country. So I found lots of different, you know, some that are more story-based, but then some that are more instructional-based graphic novels and stuff like that. So I found lots of stuff that touches on so many different subject areas. And then I got a byline as part of the team when that paper was published. So
I feel like you need to hook her up with Jason DeHart, and you also need to like really go about like making like just the people need to read, because comics, and like you need to, if you read comics, it's fine, but you really just need to read. You need to read.
Yep.
It's pertinent, right? I need to read more. I'm doing so much just showing, like, be real honest, man. I can't lie. I've read the beginning of this. This is real real freaking good. And I've been reading the Forest Falls. I read more to my boy than I read to myself. But whatever, that's what it is, man. You know what I'm saying? But man,
as a teacher, I 100% know what you're saying because I do so much reading for my classes and for my job that I've now had to force myself to carve out time in the week to just read for pleasure and stuff. And then on Sundays I post stuff that I've finished reading that week. It's not necessarily everything that I have read, but stuff that I've finished reading as a way to stay accountable and incentivized to try and make sure that I'm finding time to read every week.
Yeah. And knowing how much you work a day, I'm sure that is a very entertaining 45 seconds for you.
And look, man, it's funny you say that, though, because I'm trying to do the same thing because we're starting a review show with me and my boy over here where he's like, we're talking about comics that I've read to him and a couple comics, and, you know, he'll give his opinion to one, and then I'll give my opinion to comics that I've read. And then he gives a thumbs up or down just based on the cover, which can have some really funny results. You know what I mean? When it's like, here's this, like I feel like I could hold the Watchmen comic up to him and he would give it a quick thumbs down. Which would be just like hilariously like here and just like, you know, like a hard one. And it's like
I would give it a thumbs down too.
Are you taking it personally?
Are you because of the cover or the book itself?
The book itself, Watchmen. Yeah. I'll be one of the very few, probably a handful of people in the world, especially as a comic creator.
Wow.
That wasn't impressed because, okay, now.
Oh, Civil War! I'm getting my glasses off for that.
I mean,
listen to this. Listen to this. So I didn't read Watchmen when it came out. I didn't read Watchmen until it was already out for what, 15 years or more.
Same.
So by that time, the whole grim and gritty that was the Watchmen was what mainstream comics was basically turned to. So the Watchmen wasn't a surprise to me anymore. It wasn't this big shocking switch and big, you know, because that was the big thing, right? The Watchmen and Dark Knight Returns were like, and the Punisher, you know, they were these are the big, dark and scary comics. Well, by the time I read The Watchmen, that's how a lot of mainstream comics was. So it wasn't a thing for me. It had, you know, some really powerful messages in it and stuff, but it wasn't this be all and end all gospel that everybody was making it out to be. Like, I gave it away afterwards. I didn't even keep it.
I feel like we need to wrap it up right now before Jeff gets into his opinion of the Dark Knight.
Where's the link?
Thanks for checking out the questionnaire.
Like,
In the link below.
I
will drop
he gets
it.
the whole show
Like it's
canceled
hot.
because
That's
he takes
another party.
like,
It's cool, man. I love it.
like, what do you want to trash Marvel's Civil
That is
War, the
all.
first one next? Like, what are we gonna like? Let's just go through the classics and trash them, Jeff. Come on. How about the Infinity Gauntlet?
Honest and truly, I it's not that I'm, you know, disregard that the Watchmen when it came out was a thing. I'm just saying that by the time I read it, and I mean now it's been hyped up as it's this big thing, right? And then I read it and I'm just like, well, okay, this isn't really that much different. You know, put it in context of when it came out, sure, that would have been a thing. I can recognize that, but it doesn't get this pedestal from me because I'm just like, yeah, it was a thing. It brought about something new and different at the time, but to newer readers, it's not going to hold the same weight
As a teacher,
that it would for everybody else.
As a teacher and a fan of comics and a man that makes them, what do you think is something that would have the possibility of making that kind of impact again in the modern day?
Ooh. Given that the average attention span of most people today is 3 seconds or less, or I guess I should say 30 seconds or less, we'll never see that again. until we see a fundamental shift in how we view entertainment. We are a bunch of spoiled and entitled people. And yeah, TikTok, we have 30 seconds to get our attention or we're moving on, sometimes even less than that. We're not going to see, and it's going to be when we see something like that, if we see something like that, it's going to come out of the indie gardens of some backwater hole in the wall creator that nobody has ever heard of before, because they're going to do something that's not focused on being marketed for sale. It's being something that's written as a passion project and will have a strong message to it, but I can't predict when or how or what that could be, because it's definitely not going to come from the big two and it's not going to come from any of the secondaries. It's going to come out of the left field somewhere. And it might even be somebody that printed it off on a photocopier and, stapled it together themselves for hours leading up to the first time they debuted it in front of anybody.
Intriguing, kind of depressing, but it's the way of things. You're right.
It's a reflection of society. I mean, Look at the fact of how quickly people get over movies and TV shows and how quick they are to dismiss them and stuff like that. I mean, we don't have that attention span. Again, we're spoiled, right? Previews magazine, we know at least 3 months ahead what's going to come down the pipe.
And
stuff like that.
That's been that way for a while. Previews has been around for a long time. It has been, but it wasn't until it started being previews used to be guarded by the shopkeepers because that's what they used to order. But once they started letting everybody see that, and again, once the internet showed up, then we start getting all these huge insights. So cliffhangers, I used to love that. You get to the end of that monthly issue and it's like that last page and you're just like, oh my God, I have to wait a whole month. Or if you're out in the boonies, you're like, I have to wait a whole month and hope that my shop, that the grocery store or the gas station gets the next copy kind of thing.
It's me stuck.
But that's ruined now because we know so far ahead what's going on with storylines and stuff like that. There's no surprises anymore in that regard.
There can be if you make it a point to make them exist for you. It's not impossible.
Oh, I do 100%. I avoid everything. I don't read previews. I don't look at that kind of stuff. I watch, when it comes to like trailers, I watch one for stuff because I don't want anything given away.
And because nowadays trailers, either they put in scenes that are not going to be in the movie or they put the entire movie in the trailer.
Right? Like, I mean, let's go back to when The Phantom Menace came out. We saw most of that movie in trailers before it ever hit the theaters.
Look,
because there was so many trailers.
Episode in The Simpsons, and you get a full movie.
That still has the best lightsaber fight though of any Star Wars. I don't care.
Come on.
Okay, but hey, you know how when we discussed this once, you know how you make this fight better? Instead of him fighting two guys, you just have him fight him.
Right.
And then it's like, the crap was that? What in the actual literal crap was that? Because that would have been somebody who I don't know. Somebody felt they didn't like the Count Dooku fight with Yoda, and it was brought up on a quest. It was like, imagine had it been Darth Maul, and I was like, yeah, that would have been about 1 billion times better. But I do think, as far as with how we consume entertainment, another thing that it's done with, like you said, TikTok, you have to catch somebody's attention in 30 seconds. I feel that we don't appreciate stories the way that we used to.
Nope, not at all.
And the thing that worries me in this, Jeff, more than anything else, is stories is how we relate to one another. Mm-hmm. Without stories, we will become everybody will say, oh, you're more connected. No, there are no stories. Now it's just who want look. I think I listen to hip hop. I love hip hop, man. And when Eminem's new album dropped, like one of the tracks on it's talking about like here's the new dance craze. You can only do it once. And I'm sitting there like wondering how many people are listening to this and understanding that he's literally saying, do you understand that you guys are taking a dance and then you're having 10,000, 20,000 people, however many. I don't know. We're on TikTok. I don't use TikTok. I don't really much use social media. Sometimes, like, I'm talking to one of the co-hosts, and I'm like, did you see this post? And I'm like, what makes you think I seen that post? All right? Like, I post things. I don't scroll, like, ever. I try to have a healthy relationship with social media. Meaning, hey, come watch this show. It's really funny and entertaining and informative, and it'll tell you some cool stuff you should need to check out. I'm out.
No, but that's just it. Yeah, we're supposedly more connected than ever, but we have a huge epidemic of loneliness around the world because while we appear to be more connected, we're actually less connected than ever.
It's a lack of stories, man. It's a lack of stories. It's people. It's people thinking like, ooh, go watch Mr. Beast torture somebody for blah blah blah. You know what? That's not a story. That's an a-hole with too much money who had a-holes around him, and that's all I'll say about Mr. Beast, right? Like
it's all for the pops and the shock, right? So
I'd rather watch Alien. Okay. I'd rather watch Alien. And you can get the exact same thing with a deep, visceral story with so much more depth to it and so much more meaning.
But nobody wants that depth there. They don't care.
Yeah, that's because none of man, look, I'm in this class, Jeff. You're gonna get me in trouble, right? So look, it's been an absolute pleasure. I told myself recently, I was like, I'm gonna stop doing this on the quest. I'm gonna stop doing this, and I was about to do it right there. Did you see it, Shiro? I told myself recently, I was like, I'm gonna stop going down that rabbit hole because it's not fun rabbit hole. Y'all want to hear me go down that rabbit hole? Go check out Kill a Factor, man. There's a link in the description. That's the music I do. It's a little yeah, it's there, right? So if you want to get that tip there, man. We ain't doing that tip over here. We're trying to stay positive, and I ain't talking that, right? We're not, right? So I hope you all have enjoyed it. Like I said, man, check the links in the description. You can find out all about Jeff, right? Now, I want to let you all know if you've enjoyed this quest stuff, right? Right? And you've been like, man, dude seems like he'd be really cool as a teacher, right? Right? What I want you to do is I want you to send him a dragon, right? Right? Big old dragon, right? Swooping down with 2 adepts, the old school original Star Wars ones, right? Right? And just, burgers from like burger joints from within like 50 miles. It's a dragon, right? Right? It's got wings, right? Plus, go get his books. All right, like I said, the website is right in the description where you can click and get all this. Wait, now, real quick, Jeff, can they get 1 through 13 right now?
Not yet. They can get everything except for issue 5. So I have Mega Collections Volumes 1 and 2. That'll take you up to issue 5. Sorry. That'll take you up to issue 5. Mega Collection Volume 3 is just having the cover art finished right now, and that'll give you from 6 till 9. Once that's out, then everything Auroraman will be in print, including, which was just released yesterday, the newspaper-style comic strip collection that I've been doing for the last 5 years. Every 2 weeks, a new comic strip has been published in a local publication here.
Who's that hardcover?
And yeah, so we have it now collected in a 75-page collection, the first 5.5 years.
Oh, I'm curious with that. I mean, with it being just within a publication that was local like that, did you feel like you really, really, really had to keep it kid-friendly? Which obviously Auroraman is pretty kid-friendly, but were you afraid within the publication like that it taken it a bit too dark?
Nope. No, I've had a few stories of Auroraman that have like treaded what I say is a dark line, but in reality, compared to most modern stuff, isn't a dark line. So my brain doesn't write that way when I write Auroraman, so I don't really ever have to worry about that.
Okay, I was just curious. I mean, because like I said,
Yeah, for sure.
It was obviously for that, but again, like you said, the line in society is very. We ain't getting into all that. Man, I was trying to end the show, right? So, like I said, Cinema Dragon and 2 AT-ATs, bunch of burgers, man, bunch of burgers. Right now, if you didn't like this quest,
what are you doing here?
For real, right? Like why? Why are you here? I need to know. Right? Why are you here? Why? You really like hate watch over an hour just to like what? Get mad at a teacher up in Saskatchewan? Like
that can pawn a predator under 5 minutes.
yeah, do you really want to?
I wouldn't mess with him.
Really want to
I'd
go
do
and
my
deal with
homework.
the one that pwned a predator? like he. I mean, he might have looked like he was about to get in there for a minute, but he clearly didn't, and the clicking stopped. All right. So, but if you, but
stretch the shoulder out a little bit.
But if he did, and he just didn't really didn't enjoy listening to Jeff's stories, right? What you can do is you can get yourself a group of skinwalkers, right? Right. Let them bask in coffee, right?
Oh.
Right. Just bask in it, right? And I mean to the point where like they're just sitting in a coffee cup, right? For like days in a hot sun. This obviously can't occur in Canada, right? To where the coffee just all dries up and sticks to them, right? And then, well, you just send them to Jeff's house, man. And yeah, I don't think anyone's gonna have a good time with that. But for Jeff, it'll be a little bit extra, right? Yeah. Besides that, I just want you to give it the stick. Couldn't find my thumb, man. So whatever. Just hit that button, right? Hit it so hard it's bloody. Right? Hit it so hard it's bloody wherever you are, right? Right? Always. Get your comic on. Besides that, have a good night, y'all.
This has been the questionnaire.
Where's the link?
Thanks for checking out the questionnaire.
In the link below, yes?
I will drop it like it's hot.
That's another party.
It's cool, man. I love it.
The questionnaire. That is all.